92 million jobs gone by 2030. And for the first time in 250 years of industrial history, it's not the factory workers getting wiped out. It's the people with degrees, the lawyers, the analysts, the coders, the exact class of workers we spent 50 years telling kids to become. If you have a college degree, the World Economic Forum's own data says you are now more exposed to automation than a truck driver. Let me show you the numbers. Look at what every advanced economy did between 2000 and 2023. South Korea pushed tertiary enrollment past 98%. The US crossed 88%. The UK, France, Canada all doubled down on the college for everyone bet. India, starting from almost nothing, quadrupled its rate. The entire developed world made the same wager. The future belongs to knowledge workers. We restructured our economies, our tax codes, our student loan systems around one assumption, that a diploma equals safety. This wasn't a small bet. This was civilization-scale capital allocation. Trillions of dollars, 3 generations of young adults, and every government policy pointed at the same destination, a bigger, more educated white-collar class. That class is now the primary target of every large language model on Earth. Here's the counter-argument you're already forming. But services are the modern economy. That's a good thing. Watch this collapse in real time. In the US, UK, and France, services now generate over 70% of GDP. In Germany and Japan, over 68%. This is exactly what economists cheered for decades, the shift from smokestacks to spreadsheets. But here's what they missed. Services aren't magic. Services are tasks, and 80% of white-collar service tasks, drafting, summarizing, analyzing, coding, translating, scheduling, are the exact tasks large language models perform at human level today. The more service-based your economy, the more of your GDP sits directly in an AI's training set. Being a service economy in 2025 is like being a horse-drawn carriage economy in 1910. Prestigious, sophisticated, doomed. This is the smoking gun. Historically, unemployment for workers with advanced degrees was the lowest in the economy, usually 2 to 3%. That was the whole deal. Get educated, get insulated. Look at the trend line since 2022, when ChatGPT went public. Advanced education unemployment is climbing in the US, the UK, Canada, and France, while blue-collar unemployment stays flat or falls. In some quarters, U.S. college graduate unemployment has grown faster than the national average for the first time in recorded history. The insurance policy stopped paying out. The degree premium is inverting. Every previous automation wave hit the bottom of the labor market first and worked upward. This one started at the top and is drilling down. The people who thought they were safe were standing on ground zero. If you want to see where this ends, watch the youth. Recent graduates are the canary in the coal mine because entry-level knowledge work, the paralegal drafting motions, the junior analyst building decks, the associate writing code, is exactly what AI does best and cheapest. Youth unemployment in France sits above 17%. In Italy, over 20%. Spain, 27%. The UK broke 14% and is climbing. Even the US, with a strong economy, is watching new graduate unemployment outpace the general workforce for the first time on record. Companies aren't firing senior people yet. They're just not hiring juniors. The bottom rung of the white-collar ladder is being sawed off in real time, and an entire generation is looking at a career staircase with no first step. Here's the darkly funny part. The countries most exposed to this collapse are the same countries funding the collapse. South Korea spends 4.9% of GDP on R&D, the highest on Earth. The US, 3.5%. Japan, 3.3%. Germany, 3.1%. These are the exact economies with the highest tertiary enrollment and the most service-heavy GDP. They're paying for the AI systems that are replacing their own workforce. It's the first time in economic history that a country's most educated class is being automated by the tax dollars of that same class. India spends less than 0.7% on R&D and has the lowest exposure per capita because its economy is still 40% agriculture and small trade. The countries that won the knowledge economy race are the ones now getting hit hardest. The prize was a target on your back. So here's the verdict. The college degree isn't dead, it's inverted. For 50 years, it was a shield. For the next 10, it's a target. The data is unambiguous. The more educated your country, the more service-heavy your GDP, and the more you spend on R&D, the harder this decade will hit you. Blue-collar work, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, elder care, skilled trades is now the most defensible labor on the planet because it requires a body in a room. The prestige hierarchy of the last century is about to flip. Parents telling their kids, "Get a degree so you don't have to work with your hands," are giving the worst career advice of the 21st century. The safest job in 2030 is the one AI can't reach through a screen. If you want the charts before the headlines catch up, subscribe. We run the data on every major economic shift. No opinions, no vibes, just the numbers other channels are too scared to show you. Hit subscribe. The next video breaks down which specific jobs survive this.